Crypto Kids, welcome back to another Sunday recap where today, instead of going and fully focusing on everything that's happened this week, we will go and dive into the breaking news that has come around, which is a historic preliminary agreement between President Trump and President Xi Jinping. As you guys know, we had an outrageous dump on the crypto markets that is labeled as Black Friday following President Trump's tweet that they would invoke 100% tariffs on China. This led to Bitcoin dumping from $120,000 all the way to, on exchanges that support margin-enabled spot pairs, which Bitstamp doesn't, down to $102,000. On AVAX, you saw a dump from $24 to $8. You've seen Cardano go from 65 cents down to 0.25 cents. These were insane things that happened following President Trump threatening to invoke 100% tariffs on China on November the 1st, which is 6 days away. Now, obviously, we knew that that threat in itself shouldn't have been something that caused such outrageous dump. There were issues exchange side, which led to severe cascading liquidations. It was a Friday night, illiquid, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, President Trump tweeting that on Truth Social caused the beginning of this outrageous crash. And today, you're seeing all of that sentiment reverse. It felt like it was going to be the end of the world, but now you're seeing that the US and China reach early agreement on key issues following successful trade talks. Now, it's very important to emphasize that this is preliminary agreement, meaning that there is no actual trade deal that has come around. But from what I'm understanding, it looks pretty bullish, and we're going to get something by the deadline of November the 1st. Even if it isn't a full trade deal, you know the drill. It's always taco, right? It's always taco. I posted this as soon as I got the Watcher Guru alert. Let me go to my Twitter and show you. It's always taco. Even if you don't get an actual trade announcement, there's going to be a delay. This happens every single time, and it was such a shame that markets wiped out $19 billion for no reason because it was obvious. Even though we get these threats of huge tariffs, we know from President Trump's 10-month term that he likes to do this in exchange for negotiation, and he's quite successful in getting what he wants and then eventually coming to some sort of trade deal. If we go back to Watcher Guru, you can see that US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that China is ready to make a trade deal, which would remove President Trump's 100% tariff. And this isn't only coming from the American side, because we know that we have to look at both sides of the media, because usually America can say something, but China is like, hold on a second, that's not what we're agreeing to. That's not what we're thinking. So if we switch to the China side of the news, you can see that from China, China's Vice Minister of Commerce stated that China and the United States have reached a consensus, which means coming together on major trade issues following frank and constructive discussions. This has been, from my knowledge, 2 days of discussions, and the Kobesi report the Kobesi letter gives you a very nice breakdown, which I'm going to read to you right now. But in the meantime, if you guys are coming in, make sure to destroy the like button. Let's see if we can reach 50 likes live. If you're watching this as a video, then I hope you enjoyed as a video. Make sure to destroy the like button. We're going to get into trades. We're going to get into technical analysis, Bitcoin CME gap, because Bitcoin pumped on this news. It is a Sunday. You don't want to trust Sunday pumps. All of that we will get into in a minute, but I just want to summarize this bit of information here. I'm not going to keep this too long for you either. But it's very important that we cover this breaking news. Investors are waking up to some huge news from China, because America, obviously it is morning time where I am, it's currently evening. A trade deal is coming. China's Vice Minister of Commerce, which we just read, announced that US and China have reached a consensus on key trade issues. This includes export controls, tariff suspensions, fentanyl-related measures, anti-drug cooperation, trade expansion, and US Section 301 fees. On top of this, US Treasury Secretary Bessent said that China is ready to make a trade deal with the US after 2 days of negotiations. Bessent has added that China wants to make substantial US soybean purchases. We know that President Trump was very unhappy with the soybean situation, all while President Trump says he's hoping for a complete deal. So President Trump is looking for a complete deal. before the deadline, November 1st deadline of 100% tariffs with China this week. As we said on October 10th, which was Kobeissi letter, and we mentioned too also that President Trump's 100% tariff on China is very likely not going to go into effect. I mentioned that it's all taco, like it's all going to fade away. It's all a scare tactic and negotiation tactic. It feels like the end of the world. It feels like the sky is falling apart, but that's not what happens. And we've understood this with President Trump being president since January. He's done this multiple times. He's caused the market to crash, but it never ends up being as bad as what investors originally anticipate. Okay, so when we get into the charts, how have the markets reacted? Well, obviously, we saw a little bit of a pump. We came all the way up to $13,997 on Bitstamp, going over the important volume. We've breached the volume trend. We've breached above the bull and bear market support band. We've broken above the resistance of the inverse head and shoulder and the symmetrical triangle. All of these things we talked about on today's video. We said that liquidity is piling to the upside. We said that I have a trigger order. But because this happened on a Sunday, it changes quite a lot. Now, I didn't expect this news to come around tonight, but it did. And I was eager that we could see a break to the upside. We were prepared in both ways. We had our trigger order set to jump into a long, but I updated you on Telegram and I put a pinned comment under this video saying that update, I changed my trigger order to CME gap closure at $111,250. We do still have a CME gap. Bitcoin has a CME gap open on the 4-hourly time frame. Can we find it? Well, no, sorry. I mean, it's going to be open. Sorry, my mistake. It's going to be open this weekend. So currently the price on spot is trading at $13,481, and the CME price is we have from last week's close. It's at $110,960 or Friday's close. So there is about a $2,500 CME gap. As I'm speaking, the CME futures market will open in roughly 6 hours time. And when it does, it is going to create some sort of a gap. And I think that's the likely outcome. There is always a chance that Bitcoin dumps $2,500 in 6 hours, but I find that to be less likely. I think there is going to be somewhat of a small CME gap. Tomorrow morning on this channel, on the CryptoKids community, on Telegram, I will be updating you fully, which if you want to tag along and join, it's completely free to do so. It's linked at the top, it's pinned at the top of the chat, and you can go to the description, CryptoKids community, the one right here. It's free to join. I can update you when I can't go live or can't make a video or before I do any of the following, right? So when we go to the CME chart, there is likely going to be a CME gap. So instead of going ahead and following through with that trigger position, which would have put us into a long, I decided to buy in cheaper. I decided to set a limit around the CME gap at $111,250. And I picked that level because of these prior swing highs. So there's always a bit of a discrepancy between spot price and CME price. The CME charts, let's say if it's $10,000 or $110,990, there's always a bit of an arbitrage between futures market and spot price. It can be a premium, it could be a discount, but I just like to go in where I find is just higher than the CME gap, and I think the 11,250 is good because of 20th of October price action, specifically the 20th of October price action. So I'm going to jump into a limit long order instead of going long at the 13,650, which I originally planned on doing. So the limit order is what I've gone for. And as the price corrects to the CME gap, I think that's going to be what ends up happening. I'm going to be able to jump into a long at a cheaper price. If you want to do the same, if you wish to do the same, you can obviously go to your week's account and set up a limit order. Or if you want to get a pretty cool bonus and you're not signed up to Weekset, the first link in the description down below gives you a 20% deposit bonus. So I'm going to be jumping into a limit order if Bitcoin does come down to the $11,000 area. Chances are that we are, because we have a CME gap that's currently being formed, and then I have another limit order at 100.2, and from a positioning perspective, those are the only two new positions I'm opening on top of the positions that I've been scaling into since $77,000 here over on Bitcoin. That's my plan. That's the plan that I have, and I don't want to shy away from the plan. I know things look good. It's important to not get so excited. It is a Sunday. You never want to trust Sunday breakouts. If breakouts do end up happening over the weekend, what you tend to see is even if everything is looking super, super bullish, you see the breakouts, you come back in, you fake out everyone, and then you can continue higher or lower depending on what the chart is printing by that time. So far, yeah, this doesn't look good. This looks like it wants to reverse back to the downside. Especially now that we have the CME gap, I can be more certain of this. And I don't want to jump into anything just so quickly and end up losing money for no reason. Hence, I'm making the decision to add a limit long and not go through with that trigger order I've been mentioning on the last video. So from a technical side of things, you guys know the drill. We went into it in detail. Thank you so much for destroying the likes, by the way. You guys are all fantastic. My foot just got numb, like very, very numb. That's why I've changed the position of the laptop. I hope you don't mind it. But we're at 96 likes. Thank you all so much. The 50 like goal has been obliterated. Can we get to 100 likes? That would be the next step to get to. It would be very, very much appreciated if we can get to 100 likes. That's the state of Bitcoin. Very unfortunate that we suffered so much. We suffered all of this pain, this horrendous drop that we experienced, even without the wick to 102, down to 109 was a 12% drop. You go to Binance, to all the margin-enabled spot pairs. Bitcoin went from 120s all the way to 102, a 17% drop, and this was fueled from President Trump's tariffs on China. And now it looks like it's all fading away. So very unfortunate this happened, but there is a huge arbitrage opportunity where now it looks like the trade deal is likely going to happen. And comparatively to if we deleted all of this price action right here and we went back to before President Trump announcing those 100% tariffs, you were at $120,000. So there's an arbitrage opportunity of about 6.8%. And I'm taking that. I think it's a good thing to be taking. Yes, we can always dump to the 54 simple moving average, but I'm prepared for that too. And it's good to have that preparation. It's good to have that risk being averted depending on what markets want to do. There is quite an important price action related point, a lot of P's there. And that is us going over the bull and bear market support band. If we can do it, it would be amazing. It would require us to close above 13.4. That's the 20-week simple moving average. If we can go above the bull and bear market support band, then it reduces the chances of us having to dump to 100.2 by a lot. But that's all going to depend on how today's candle that ends the weekly candle will close. 13.4, if we can go above it, it would just be so tremendous. It would be so nice. Would reduce bearish probabilities, bearish statistics by a lot. We need to keep an eye on it. And trust me, I will update you tomorrow if we were able to do this or not. But still, don't forget the 100.2. Keep it in the back of your mind. Please, please, please. Don't get too excited. Keep the 100.2 level on the back of your mind. Macro is bullish. Don't forget that also, even if you dump to 100.2, macro is still bullish. We just want to be prepared. That's all we want to do. We want to be prepared, as prepared as we can be. I want to mention something very quickly. On Tuesday, me, Carl, Da Vinci, Chris, we are all going to be speaking at the Blockchain Life 2025 forum. It's pretty cool because Pavel Durov just got confirmed as a speaker alongside the co-founder of USDT. If you're in Dubai, I would definitely check out this conference. Fantastic lineup of speakers. Justin Sun also. Insane. And our keynote is going to be on the same stage that Pavel Durov is going to be speaking on the following day. What an honor. Incredible. I really can't believe it. And what is an even bigger honor is that I'm going to be moderating this panel between Carl Runefeld, Da Vinci Jeremy, Chris Crypto, and Andres Menzes. It's about FOMO, FUD, and investor psychology. We're going to be focusing on fear and greed index. How do you manage the feelings of euphoria? How do you manage the feelings of wanting to sell everything and exit from crypto? All of those points are going to be talked about, and I'm curious to know what these guys are going to mention. And if you are curious too, then come to the conference. It's going to be very, very fun. And apart from our panel, I think there's so much to attend to and so much to learn from all the other speakers over the course of the 2 days. Like I mentioned, Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, founder of Toncoin too, he's going to be speaking. Justin Sun, Pavel is speaking at 4 p.m. So insane lineup of speakers. Very, very grateful to be amongst such an awesome list of speakers. I think it's going to be a very cool conference. And if you want to see us, if you want to meet us, I'll be present throughout both of those days. Make sure to check out Blockchain Life in Dubai. I saw a post from the Bitcoin historian, billionaire Telegram CEO, announced to speak at first ever Bitcoin and crypto conference. That's actually not true. Pavel Durov spoke at Token 2049 last year in Dubai. So this is a little bit of fake news. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news and be that guy. But yeah, Pavel has spoken before and represented TON in 2024 Token 2049. But I believe this is his second appearance in a crypto conference, so very special nonetheless. Speaking of special things, Michael Saylor is back after a break of accumulating a large quantity of Bitcoin. We'll find out tomorrow if he bought anything more than $50 million. I know $50 million is a ton of money, but we're used to Michael Saylor purchasing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. So he's announced that today's Orange Dot Day, which means that he's bought Bitcoin. And tomorrow in around 4 p.m. Dubai time, we will find out exactly how much Bitcoin he has decided to purchase. And I do hope that it's anything over $50 million, because if it's not, then MSTR share price will probably experience further downwards continuation. I really hope it's over $50 million. And that concludes today's show. I wanted to make it short and sweet. I wanted to do a Sunday recap show, but when this thing came out regarding the China-US tariffs, I wanted to really make a video that focuses primarily on that. So if you're watching it as a live stream, I hope it was a smooth live stream. And if you've watched it as a video, I hope you were able to get all of that data and information as clearly as possible. 134 likes. You guys are fantastic. Now, I want to take a couple of questions before calling it an evening. Let me see what you guys have been saying. Amr says, easy. You learn the hard way to lose your emotions after you lose all of your gains. Well, you know what? You don't have to necessarily go through the hard path. I know that most people learn after losing money, but the thing is, if you take risk management courses, study risk management, and really stick to your trading discipline, then yeah, losses are going to happen, but you're not going to be in a position where you lose everything, because your risk management is going to prevent you from going into such situation. Ben still says that Bitcoin dominance will go up. That means dump will happen to scare people back into Bitcoin. Again, not necessarily. So Bitcoin dominance go up doesn't mean that there has to be a drop across the board. So he says that there will be an asset rotation into Bitcoin, but Bitcoin dominance going up can mean the following things. It can mean that 1, Bitcoin is going up, altcoins are staying neutral. 2, Bitcoin is going up more so than altcoins, but both are going up at the same time. 3, Bitcoin is staying neutral, altcoins are going down. And 4, both are going down, but Bitcoin is holding up better than altcoins. And I think it's going to be a situation where Bitcoin goes up and altcoins remain a little bit flat, but are not appreciating, or they're not appreciating as much as Bitcoin is relatively, of course. So I don't see huge danger for altcoins unless something that we can't predict happens, like Black Friday. But I do believe that being in Bitcoin still, keeping Bitcoin as the primary percentage of your portfolio right now, I think is the more sensible option. But obviously, nothing in the stream is financial advice. Ben is not giving financial advice either. This is just our perspectives and our opinions. But I am personally still in a Bitcoin majority in comparison to my altcoins. What's up, Crypto Kid? Hope you and Carl are well. Thank you for the Sunday show. Nikhil, no worries at all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Black Friday wicks longer than a lizard's tongue, more than suspicious or rigged. Yeah, I mean, it was rigged, and we've covered why it was rigged. It was horrible, very traumatic indeed. You're 18, take care of yourself, says Amber. Yes, I am 18 years old, but I do enjoy making these shows. more than anything in this world. So I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are having a great time. Nikhil is 17. Wow, legend. Legend. You're going to do very well in life, Nikhil. Should we consider RSI in 4-hourly? If we go to the 4-hourly time frame, maybe you're referring to a divergence. Let's double check if you are referring to a divergence or not. We already have the RSI, it looks like, on the charts. There is no divergence on the 4-hourly time frame. So nothing right now to be considering or taking into account, but I'll make sure to have a look in the future if we do have a divergence forming or not. But at this moment, we don't. Nikhil, of course I remember you from previous live streams. All right, guys, that is it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I was going to do a Sunday recap show, but I just thought it would be better for you guys if I cover the trade talk in detail instead. I mean, to be honest, not much has happened this week, anyways. If that was the case, I would have gone ahead with the weekly recap. But I'm here every Sunday. We're always going to do a live stream on Sundays from now on. So make sure you're subscribed. We have our daily videos, but Sunday I want to do an additional piece of content where I go live on top of the normal daily videos. Guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I'm very excited to see if Max Verstappen can pull a P1 position or not. So I'm wearing my Red Bull jersey, huge F1 fan. So I'm supporting Max Verstappen, and I'm, it would be awesome if he can win the championship. That would be crazy. So if there's any F1 fans who are watching the race tonight, go Max. But take care, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's update, everyone. Bye-bye.